And welcome once again. I am the database guy. Thank you for joining me. This is video 12 on presentation 7 of forms. And wow, 12 videos can go very quickly because this is a very involved section of what is required. Now, we went through tables, queries, and connecting data and everything, but nothing is as extensive as this. Reports probably won't be as extensive because they're simply reports and there's only so much you can do with it. Of course, Visual Basic will be really, really out there. We're going to have a lot of videos on that. All this is free to you, and so please, again, like and subscribe as always. So let's go to our database and let's do some review here. So we added, and you can't see, let me go into Design View. We can do it from right-clicking here or on the actual name. We added the cancel and confirm buttons, and we hid them, or we made them invisible, I should say. We set the visible to no. We added the add books authors button and we added the add button, and we did some work, of course, with flow charts. I don't know if I'm going to get into the flow chart here. I mean, right now we have it set up so if I want to hit that add button, what will happen will be I will set the ISBN number equal to what I see here, but I need to, and it looks like there's something in here. So let's just check our table. I don't know why it shouldn't be there. So I hit the button. Um, yeah, it looks like I hit something. Let's just delete it and get rid of it. Um, so what we have to do there realistically, and as I said, Shift F9, records deleted. Yeah, I know it is. Shift F9 to clear it. What we're going to have to do is those fields are going to have to be locked until the time in which we're going to add the record. In the flow chart, remember, once we either we add it or we cancel it, the add book button will then be disabled. We won't be able to click it again, but we'll see cancel or confirm. If we try to click confirm, we haven't got the data validated, it won't let us. If it's all there, it will. It'll also check the author as well, the new authors. Now, one other thing on that button, we have to configure it in a certain way like this button. So where we're setting this ISBN equal to this field, we got to do the same thing here. Originally, we had it set as a default value. That's a little bit dangerous, and we're not going to do that. Until we get to coding, we can't do much there. And while I'm on this subject, let us take this control here and let's hide it. Doesn't need to be visible for it to be set. It's there. That's the interesting thing about controls. You can access them. And, all right. Now, we have a delete key for the author, which is going to be easy. When we want to delete the author, it's quite simple. We're going to pick the author name in the ISBN that's on that form right there. We're going to take that and we're going to run it through a query, or pass it through a query, I should say, a delete query, and then delete that particular author and we query the form. Real easy in code. You'll see how it works. But what if we wanted to delete a book? Well, that's a dangerous thing. So what I am going to do right now is I'm going to close this database down for a moment. Goodbye. We're going to go to the back end. Now the back end, let's see. Yeah. Okay, here's our back end. It's not password protected because I forgot the password, and that's a big problem. If you're going to password protect your back end, remember it. Make sure you do, because once you forget that, it's all over. And as you know, we put that password into the connection. We connected the tables. We linked them to the front end, and that's fine. But you can't decipher it or read it. It's encrypted. So anyway, let's take a look at books for a moment here. And as you can see here, let me go into Design View. So we have these 4 fields. We're going to have another field here, which is active. And we're going to do this with a yes/no Boolean. Its default value we're going to set to yes. so that when you, let's see. Oh, okay. So we'll set the default value to yes. I thought there would be a drop down there. There apparently isn't. This kind of a Boolean, you have options. True, false, yes, no, on, off. It's the same concept. It's if it's a true, it's a 1. If it's a false, it's a 0. On, off, same thing, same concept. We're going to leave it as a yes, no. We're going to save this. Yeah, we are. Let's open it up here and let's make every, whoops, we got to change that field name. I don't think I typed it in correctly. We're going to, now as you see at the bottom, the newest record will be active. All right. And the idea behind this is, let's see here. See if we can, yeah, we can type it in here. We should be able to. Another way to do it. There we go. All right. So we're going to save it too. Um, the idea behind this is we never want to delete data. If we delete a book, let's just go to our relationships here, and I'm going to make sure, I want to pull this out. You don't need a relationship between authors. I have it set here, but you don't need it. Because what's going to happen, well, it doesn't matter really too much here. Um, we are ensuring, we are ensuring that whatever author we pick to go in here has a record here. And you don't necessarily have to have that as a relationship because if you were to delete the author from here, and let me just reestablish that again so I can show you what I mean. It's a one-to-many. If I delete the author here, all the data goes away from books authors. Um, in that sense, it's a good thing to have it. If I didn't have it, if I deleted the author, then the issue is going to be that I will leave in the book's authors table, I'll leave those records orphaned. So, um, that's the kind of thing I think I'll leave. You don't have to have it, but it's only going to be a question of if I update or if I delete or do something to an author's name. Um, but my view on the update portion is if I change the author's name, it's going to update across anyway because it's linking it to the author ID, not the name. But if I delete the author, I should wipe out everything from this table here, which is what I want to do. All right, whenever I do that. But anyway, we never like deleting data because once it's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. And that's the real big caveat to that. So as you can see here, our relationships here. And we even have it for publishers, which again, if I delete a publisher, I am going to wipe out every single book that that person published. If I delete a book, I'm going to wipe out every single book's author's entry. Now, that doesn't create any referential or a non-normalization for the authors table because we could still have the authors in there. They're just not related to any books. So this kind of makes sense if you think about it, right? Okay. So anyway, but we created this. Okay. I'm going to then close this down, right? Um, let's open up our front end, which is here. Let's go to our books table. And as you can see, because the table's already linked, I don't have to do a relink or a refresh. However, when we do create code, you're going to see a refresh piece of code that I want you to use, and then you can use it in any way you want. You should refresh those links when you open up your database to any connected linked tables. So here we have it here. Now, let's see how this translates, this whole active field, to our form. So we're going to go into here. We're going to go to Design View. We're going to go into this. Properties. This is the one, remember, this is the one table that lists all the books. So query books DE, we have a query connected to it. That's good news. Let's take a look at that query. Let's see, ISBN, title, year, publisher. Yeah, well, it's got a publisher ID, and I don't know that I need that because let's just take a quick look here or why I did it. Hmm, we could leave it. It's not going to do any harm. You really want to have less is more. Really, we just need the publisher there, but um, I think the reason it was done was just to be in the safe side if we needed access to that foreign key. Okay, and let's open up our books table here, and let's make active here and set the criteria to yes. Okay. Invalid string. Okay, so let's just try a yes without anything. It's a Boolean. It's not it's not a string. We don't need to put quotes around it. A Boolean will take a yes and no since that's the kind of field that it is. So just, yeah. So we go to data sheet view and everything is there. We're going to close this. Go, yes, we want to update that. Everything is happy. Now, so why did I do that? Well, let's go back to our table. Supposing we take out one of them. And whoops, sorry, I just tried to add one there. And we're just taking it out as being no longer active. Okay. Nothing seems to have changed, right? So what I'm going to do here is do my Shift F9. And as you can see, voila, it removed it, but it didn't delete it. In other words, our concept here, and by the way, you will notice, oops, I'm sorry, I got to do this field. You will notice that I can't even access the authors anymore. So when I set a delete key up here, it really will be an inactive key. Make it inactive. Now, what if I want to activate it back? Hmm. I'd need another form somewhere, or I'd need a way of looking at those to reactivate those um, inactive books. Uh, and I don't want it. The real estate doesn't really lend itself to adding another form. I'm kind of really crunched in here. But what we could do, and this is what we're going to do, we're going to go into design view. And in this particular subform, we're going to open up the form header here. We're going to need that. And let's just see what happens when we go into here. Obviously, you're going to see this white, which is not what we want. So we're going to change that color. Need my details section. Thank you. It's under format. There's no data to the details section. There's what we want, our color right there. We're going to come to the form area here, and obviously white's all Fs, and we're going to, oh, I just copied it. Got to watch those keys. Control copy and control paste, which is a control C, control V on the keyboard. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're probably going to shrink this up just a little bit. Give us some space here. And okay, so now we go to form view, and there you see we now have some space there. Um, we're going to add a button to it, and that button is going to allow us to open a form in modal view, which means we have to do something with that form, and we'll create that form in a moment. But that form will allow us to locate anything that is um, inactive and activate it, right, and save that. Um, and what we'll do is we'll do it not by code, but code is the real way you want to do it. We're going to do this one manually. So let's go in and we're going to take this key here and let's see if we can move it. We need a couple of keys here. One of command buttons. We're going to move this one over here. Actually, I'll move it this way. I want that one accessed first just in case, and then I'm going to take what I see here, copy it here, um, V that there, and we're going to take this command button here. Come on. There. Um, Gotta be careful with this one here. Well, what we're going to do here is confirm the user's choice. So we don't just, so we're going to right click here, go properties, and we're going to put this one here as command, CMD, inactive to inactivate the record. Okay, and we're going to go to format here. We don't want a picture. We don't want that. Yes, we want to remove the picture, and the caption will be a big I. And I don't know how that works, but I want something that'll look good. I think I'm going to change this font. So let's see some fonts over here. Let's see. I think we need to have something simple. Times New Roman. That's good. I like the eye on that. Let's get it to be a little bit larger, shall we? Let's see if 14. It's a little bit big on 14. Let's go 12. Let's go 11. Hang on a minute. And let's go with font weight bold. I think it's going to maybe go back to 10 because it's going to be too big. No, that looks good. Okay, that looks really good. So let's take a look at this first before we do anything. And there you see the I for inactivate if we wanted that. All right, and hang on. So this may not be what you've had in mind. I think we're going to make that button a little bit bigger too, because I don't like the way it's touching the bottom. And you know what we're going to do too with this button? We're going to bevel and, yeah, make it look, we're going to have to make it larger because we're going to bevel. Good. Okay, so move it up. I got two of them. All right. There, it's a much better looking button. It stands out. All right. So conform view, and this is really cool. All right, this is really, really cool. You may say, well, wait a second, I'm sort of not, I don't like the way this is really close to this stuff here. And can we clean that up? So let's see. Let's see. Well, right now, I think what we can do to really fix this and to really give it clarity to make sure we understand, we're going to select all four of these fields. I said we can do that multi, and then we're going to look at the back style we're going to leave, but the border width. Border style is not going to be transparent. We're going to make that solid. We're going to make this one, give it a point. And let's see if we can make this one, it might be too much, but let's go with a dark, I think a very dark blue will be a nice color. Let's try that, rather than a black. Oh, okay, very nice. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix over here too by publisher. Let's expand this all the way out and move this over. Yeah, this one here. Um, let's bring it in just a little bit here. Okay. And this may take some time to get these things the way you want them. A little more, a little more. All right. So let's bring it in just a little bit more. Bring this guy in and actually bring our little edge in. Got that for you. You can go out, by the way, with forms. You have a maximum of 22 inches on that ruler. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, I was wondering, font is black. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. Um, it isn't the best, but leaving it without border, to me, is going to make life a little difficult. Now, we could take it off its transparency. It might stand out a little bit better. And let's see if we do the border, the backfill white. I'm not crazy about that, but given that we have a border of blue, it might just be something that'll work. So you need to try that. You need to try it sometimes and to understand it, see how it works. So the back color, no longer transparent, is normal. And let's see, the color on this one, oh, that's black, sorry. Hello, I hit the black instead of the white. Go to white. There we go. Let's see what it looks like. I don't know if it's going to look terribly good. That's actually not half bad. Um, not bad at all. So it does stand out. It does give us, uh, it looks a little bit better. I think what I'm going to do here is actually take out the border. I think it's a bit much. It's quite, it's quite busy, right? Sometimes too much doesn't work. Let's go here and border style is going to be transparent. Okay. And let's look at it now. Yeah, that's probably how I would do it. Again, you play around with it, you get something that looks good. It's not as busy, it's cleaner, it's nice. So we have our edit button or an active button. We have our add for the author on this side here. We have our edit author. We have our delete author, which is possible right within the book. So now, why did we expand the top area there? Because what we're going to do here is create another key here. And I think what I'm going to do is use this key, hit paste. Yeah, so this key here. And I think it's going to be, let's say, we're going to say activate book. All right. Now we're going to have to make this a little bit larger. And I think we're going to have to narrow it down just a bit. There we go. And we're going to bring it up. Control button. There we go. And that is going to open up our activate book form. We're going to go to properties and we're going to say this is going to be, and now it took the original name of it, by the way, command act book. That'll be fine. And we're going to save this. So we come in here and whoa, we're not seeing it in our form header. Oh, I know why, because it's hidden. We copied a hidden or an invisible, right? See, visible's no. Command button. Got to make sure that whenever you copy a control, you understand its parameters. There we go. And I think what we're going to do is move that over to the end. And um, right, there we go. So, and we want to be careful where we keep our command buttons. We don't want to have things too close where people can click on them. However, when we do write the code, you're going to have confirmations on things, especially when you're going to inactivate something or edit something. We want to make sure the user is going through a deliberate action. Editing something may not be a problem because you can always cancel it. You don't have to do any editing. Inactivating, if you just inactivate it, that's a problem. And you have to go back and inactivate it. So you want a confirmation on that button. To add a book and an author, I would say, yeah, you want to have a confirmation there to make sure that's the procedure the user wants to follow. All right. And the same thing with just the author in general, and the delete, certainly the delete author. But in this case, in our um, application here, we're going to have confirmations for everything so you can see how that works out, and we'll get into code and we'll bring those into a reality. All right. Now we got to create the form for this, right? So it's interesting. Now the form for this one here, if we go to the query for that form, query books, all right, we notice if we go into design view, is this the one? Wait a minute. Let's see. Let me see which one it is. I thought it was that one. Go to the data. Query books DE. Okay. Um, that's kind of confusing. I realize it. But anyway, open this one here. And yeah, here you're going to see this here. Just on the other side too. Let me just go in here and let's go to the authors table. Let's see what query we're working off of on that one too. All right, authors DE. So when we go to authors DE, let's just see that query in design view. And where books authors and table authors are connected. Now, as we said, you notice if I inactivated a book, I have no longer access to that author or those authors, which makes sense. You notice I didn't have to do anything that was special to it. But you may have a case where you may have it connected. Let's say you had the book's authors table to the books table, which could be possible. All right. Um, and we could have added that here. Let me just show it to you. I'm not going to save it. Let's see here. No, that's not the right one. We want the books table. There we go. And you see it's already connected. And what I could have done here is placed in the criteria. Yes. And this would only be good if, for example, I was showing that data no matter what. In other words, um, if I got rid of that book from the one subform and I'm still showing the data, let's say in the author's subform, then I would have to make this the case so that when I get rid of it from the books table and I refresh all the subforms, it's going to go away from here as well. But this wasn't the case because the only way you could access that author was through the whatever book you were looking at that point in time, the navigation for the books. So this is not going to be an issue for us. We're going to just not save this. No, we don't want that. Up here, we're going to navigate. We're going to have our navigation buttons up here when we get to those. And we need code for those. So we can't do anything with those yet. What we're going to do here is we're going to copy this. paste it. And this is going to be, this is authors. No, 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 no. I want books. This one. And paste it. And we're going to call this one DE Act. So activate those books. Now, when we look at that, let's go and look at the DE active. All right, you see it's the same thing. But what we're going to do here is we're going to make this a no. If we go to datasheet view, we're going to get the one book that's inactive. All right, so we have our query. Now we got to create the form, which isn't too really difficult, by the way. What we can do, and in this particular form, it's going to be a little bit different than what we're going to see. So we're going to take, go to forms. We're going to take this form you see here, which is, yeah, I can't open that because it's here. I'm going to copy it, paste it. We're going to call this form Books Act. All right. And go to design view here. We're going to get rid of this here. We don't need that. And we're going to get rid of our keys here. We don't need this. And well, actually, let's go back and leave that. And we'll put an A there. And properties, and we're going to call this one command active. Shouldn't be too crazy on that one. So it's going to go over here, and let's see. All right, so we're going to delete this field. We don't really need that one there. We're going to copy this field, paste it. Let's see. Yeah, we'll just use our arrow key to bring it over. Scrunch it down. We don't need to have much on there. Good. Right click on it, go to properties. We're going to make this one TXTACT. It's the active check button. And we're going to then take this one here and we're going to make it our active field. Okay. And we're going to go here. We're going to change this, our query, to this one. Almost looks like deactivate. And while we're on the subject there, we are going to, let's save it for now. Yep. And let's see, we're going to take these three here, copy them. We're going to go into our book act again, design view, open up our form header. Okay. We're going to move these over. Let's see. So we're going to have to size these up correctly. All right. Okay, let's bring this one in a little bit. Title, we're going to move this over a little bit. Looking good. ISBN. There we go. We have one more. Let's actually maximize this while we're at it. And this should be, I'm going to copy one. Again, copying, all you have to do is rename them appropriately, but copying a control like this, and we're going to use the arrow key. You saw it, you didn't see this before, but I brought it over like this. It'll always paste it to the corner And uh, now, what we're going to do here, um, active. Okay. And what we should do is bring this out just a little bit. And we're going to put this underneath this more. All right. I am not going to go in there and right now change these. What I want to do is take a look at this and see that we see what we should see. And we do. Now the active, as you can see, let's make it larger. I think the problem is the yes or no is not showing up in there. So it's not just a checkbox, it's a yes, no. Actually, you know what? We have to change that, not to a text box, but to a yes, no. Let us, you know what? Get rid of that. Let us go to our form design, and we're going to go to a checkbox in here. This is our first, well, I think it's our first checkbox right there. Right? It's a checkbox. You'll see it right there. Whoops. Do it again. There it is. Click it, and we're going to put it in there. I forgot because the text box will tell us a yes, no. We don't need to have. You don't need to have the um, text by it. So what happens with the text box is it'll put text by it, and the way we're doing it, we want that to be above. So let's go and control down. Whoop, whoop, nope, nope. Yeah, that's a shift. And let's see. All right, let's see if we can make it larger. All right. Well, all right. Okay. And then we got to put the control and or link the control to its uh, our active control. Yeah. And now when we look at this, we're going to see something different. And you should. Okay. So you see it's not active. All right. Now what we're also going to do here, we don't want the user to click that box directly. Okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to enable it yes, and we're going to lock it yes, so that it can't be changed by the user. And the reason is we want to have a deliberate set of actions here to activate here that particular book. We're going to save it, and we're going to close this. And we're going to take this one and go, actually, we're going to come to this one here. We're going to go properties, event, and on our unclick. You saw the unclick. Again, I'm not trying to bring code to you, but we're going to do this. It's a do command open form. Makes sense. Whoops, what happened? I'm only doing this to show you, and this will be form, form books act. And normal. And, okay, good. So we want to say that, debug it. Again, I'm not doing the code because I'm doing like a one line here, one line here, just to get things where they need to go. There's one more thing. I'm going to go to design view here. I'm going to go to properties, the other side here. Now, we're going to make this modal. What modal means is once this form comes up, you have to do something, or you have to cancel it. One or the other, okay? And in other words, you can't click the other form below it. We don't want this form to go away. We want the user to force the user to look at this form and do something. And right here, we're going to do on the on-click event here. And again, this is just an introductory to code. We're not going to go into all of this, but I want to show you how it does work. And so, oh, did I name the checkbox? Oh boy, let me go back. I hope I named it. I don't think I did. So let's go here. We got to name this. Properties. Oh, sorry. I just went. See, that's what happens when you go below. All right. Properties. And yeah, we didn't name it. This is check act. And we're going to save that too. We got to make sure we save it so it sees it in Visual Basic. So here, we're just going to do this. Me check act equals yes. And we have an issue with doing this now. What if we're going to say not yes, but equals true? Then I don't think yes will work. It has to be true or false. Let's try it. Yeah. Right. So when you're setting a checkbox, it's a true or false. If I was setting the text box, it could be a yes or a no. Now, there's a caveat to this, a little warning for you. This code is by no means complete. It's in fact very poor. All it will do is it will check the checkbox, and then we will do AC command save record. Save record. All right, so what it's going to do is it's going to check that checkbox. It's going to save the record. Now, once the checkbox is checked, and then we're going to do a me.form.requery. I want you to see this. And once, okay, and once we do that, it's going to disappear from the form. Now, we don't have to. Well, here's the thing. If we didn't want it to disappear from the form, if we wanted to see everything, all of the books that were either inactive or active, and we wanted to check or uncheck, then we could do that too. But here, we just want to bring things that are active or inactive back to the active state. So we really have to do some workflows and code to make sure that it shouldn't be true because our query says it's going to be false. Anything we check there, right? But we want to be careful. So you got to understand where you are. In our case, our query is going to show anything that's false. Once we check it, when we query, it's going to be gone. So let's save that. Let's debug it just in case we find anything and we don't. All right, so let's run this and see how it works. I'm going to just close this down and close this one as well. Go back into our main, activate book, and there you see, well, our form came up. It's not really in the best way it looks, but you see I can't do anything. And I can't check my checkbox here. Now I can close it this way, but you wouldn't do that. Okay, you'd have a close button. If I hit active, well, we can't use that right now. Oh, I see. I see. All right, so let's close it. And I think because we don't have the focus, we're going to comment that out. And we're going to see what happens when we do it this way. Oh, it's gone. Okay, so it's now gone. Let's go back and bring it back up. Yeah, let's go and back and bring it back up here. Oh, and let me add another piece of code here. Um, do command close AC form and form. What is this one? Books active. This will actually close the form as well once it's completed. And oh, I know why. I don't have that. Yeah, need to have that delimiter there. and you'll learn about that when you learn code. So let's go back into our books. Let us make let's make 2 of them inactive. All right. Let's go in here. Shift F9. Okay, both of them came out. Good. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's close this. Let's go to my activate book, and now I see 2 of them here. So let's go and hit this one. I'll activate it now. Shift F9, and it will come back. Now, obviously, all this will be done by code, so you won't do it. And we can go back in, by the way, and we can do the last one. And this probably, let's go into design view for a minute here, and let's take a look at this form. Properties. So auto center, yeah, should be on yes. That's why it's coming away from that side there. So let's yeah, save it. Let's go back to it, and there it is in the center. Now I think we should probably use a different color for this. It's sort of flushing or blending in. So, but for in any event, we hit active here, it closes. We come back here, and we get it back. And now if I come back to this here, I can see those authors and so on. So what we've learned today is that we never delete data. Instead, and let's go back to that table. It's our linked table. We can create a flag, and you can create a flag for anything. You can create a flag for something being active or inactive. Either way, it's going to be either active or inactive. You can create a flag for something that's going to be new, a new document. Another flag for something that's going to be, let's say, processed. Another flag for something that's going to be validated or completed, and so on. And you could make sure that you check off conditions. And when you run those queries, those conditions will only populate data for which um, for which the the piece of data will be active or whatever the case may be. I could do it for authors too. I could make an author inactive. And then here, what I need to do is when I go into that particular query here, let's go into it. Here, right, I need to have the active here would be set to what? Yes. So if I had any no's, I won't see them. And this is how you do when you manipulate data. You never delete data. You never want to make it complicated. Um, and again, if I hit this active book here, I'm going to see nothing. Now, I'm going to show you how to ensure that won't come up. Again, that code, when we get to coding, if there's no data in a particular form, right, that will be something where it shouldn't show up. Okay, the form will tell you no data in form. It won't bring the form up. Okay, so it'll just be a fail-safe for your end user. Um, and also here in this add book, you may set a maximum of 4 authors, and you can say, sorry, you've already got 4 authors there. You can't add any more. You could do a lot of things here, and coding is what makes it possible. So, to sum up today, we've learned we don't delete data. We can have an inactive button here. We didn't configure that yet, right? Because we're going to need to put that inactive field here. Let me just see something here. Let me maximize this quickly. Yeah, we're going to need to have the inactive button here, probably the better than that foreign key. I don't think we need that foreign key there. It's not pointing to anything. It's a publisher foreign key. So we'll use that, and we'll hide it, by the way. We don't even have to show it. And actually, while we're on that subject, let's go back to our form book act, just to close this out. We don't even need, we can take this and this. We can go to properties and we can say visible. No, we don't even need to show them because You just don't need to do that. So let's make sure it works, and it should. There's always a question of if something's not visible. Let's just take one at random and say, sorry, it's not active. And let's just do our Shift F9. It goes away. Let's go to our active book. We see it here. Let's see what happens. And it goes away. Shift F9, and it comes back. Excuse me. So we don't need to show that. We don't need to show that there, right? We never need to see it because your user's not going to touch it anyway. Now, you may have a question of, well, why is it even on the form? Well, it's got to be on the form because remember that button is setting that value to true. So if it's not in the form, it can't set it. It's actually focusing in on that control. Oh, and by the way, on this particular form here, let me just see, in our properties, in our data, we have nothing. We're not making any changes, just viewing that data. Well, that's important. Again, that's your scope of how you want to see the data. You want to just view it, don't touch it. That's what that's great for the active book. Activate book, I'm sorry, or this one here. And also what we're going to do is we don't need to have a close button on that because, and you noticed that we're only able to activate one book at a time. So you may want to, and again, when we get into coding, we can set up coding that can say, okay, you've activated this book. Do you want to activate more? If no, you close the form down. If yes, you hit activate again. It'll ask you the same thing again, and so on and so forth. Or you can have it track it to make sure that it knows, hey, you've activated all the books. We're going to shut down the form. So you want to make it intuitive, so you know that you can understand what it's doing, and it can be sort of self-propelled in that way. You want to give your user the least amount of work and have the best amount of understanding to it. I could have set the form up to just check off those boxes. Why do you think I didn't? Well, I want to make sure that the user's following a deliberate action. Now, I'm never asking them, are you sure you want to activate this book? That's another thing that could come up. Um, and I could also I could cancel out of it if I wanted to. But I think the best way to go about is, are you sure you want to activate this book? Yes, I do. Okay, you have. Um, you now have 3 more books you can activate. Do you want to activate any of those? No, I don't. Form closes, refreshes the form here, we see it. Or if it were yes, I could continue on that and so on. So in any event, please like and subscribe. When we come back, what I think we're going to do here is we're going to configure the inactivate button to show you how that works. Um, again, we're pretty much getting close to the end of forms. There are other needs for forms, and forms can be for searching. And I really would like to show you that, okay? Because that's an interesting thing. Like if you looked at an author and it populated some books from the author and you selected the book and you got the information from that book and so on. I want you to know how searching for data is designed and access how you design it as a developer and what you do. But again, as we get to it, more and more code is needed. So what I may do is give you as much as I can, get into reports, which is really straightforward and simple. Uh, and um, and then we start our coding. All right. So wherever you are, have a great day, evening, night, whatever it is. Please like and subscribe. As always, I'm the database guy, and I'm here for you. Take care.